I worked at a meditation retreat center in rural Thailand for 3 years. We ran 10-day silent programs, no phones, no talking, no entertainment. Just sitting with your thoughts. Most guests adapted within 48 hours. Americans? Different story entirely. This guy from Phoenix arrived on a Tuesday. Day 1, he asked when activities started. I explained meditation was the activity. He laughed, thought I was joking. By day 2, he'd smuggled his phone from the locked storage. I caught him in the bathroom watching YouTube videos about meditation instead of actually meditating. When confronted, he said, "I'm researching techniques." He left on day 3, wrote a review saying we didn't provide enough structure. The structure was silence. That was too much structure and simultaneously not enough. Another American asked if we had Wi-Fi for emergencies. I said no. He defined emergencies as checking if my fantasy football team won. He lasted 6 hours. These weren't isolated incidents. They were patterns, and they happened everywhere, not just at retreats. I managed a small bookstore in Bergen, Norway. We're known for quiet, cozy spaces where people read for hours. Norwegians bring coffee, settle in, disappear into books. It's peaceful. An American family walked in one Saturday. The father immediately asked, "Where's the cafe section?" I pointed to our coffee station, self-serve, honor system payment. He looked confused. No menu? No waiter? I explained people just pour coffee and read. He said that sounded inefficient and asked what else we offered for entertainment. I suggested books. He meant besides books. Like, what do people do here? I said they read books. He stared at me like I described watching paint dry. His kids were already restless, asking about the Nintendo Switch in their bag. He let them play it, volume on full. Other customers looked up, annoyed. I politely asked him to use headphones. He said kids need stimulation or they get anxious. The kids weren't anxious, they were bored, which he treated as a medical emergency. After 15 minutes, he bought nothing, said the store was too quiet, and left. He'd been in a bookstore. Quiet was the point. A German colleague at a railway station told me about an American who missed his connection and had a 3-hour wait. The station had comfortable seating, good coffee, nice views of the Rhine. The American approached my colleague asking what there was to do during the wait. My colleague suggested the Riverside Walk, local bakery, or simply relaxing. The American said, "For 3 hours?" Like he'd been sentenced to prison. He couldn't comprehend unstructured time. He kept asking about entertainment options, shopping, anything happening. My colleague said, "You could just sit." The American downloaded 4 different apps, made phone calls, paced continuously, bought magazines he didn't read, and complained to staff twice about the boring wait. He left an online review criticizing German railways for failing to provide passenger entertainment during delays. The delay wasn't even their fault. His original train was late due to weather. I worked summers at a beach resort in Crete. Greeks treat beach time as sacred. Arrive early, stay all day, do absolutely nothing. It's restorative. American guests couldn't grasp this. They'd arrive at the beach, lay out towels, then immediately ask what activities were available. I'd list them: swimming, sunbathing, reading, relaxing. They'd say, no, like organized activities. We had weekly volleyball, but otherwise it was a beach. The activity was existing peacefully near water. One couple asked if we had scheduled beach programming. I said no. They seemed genuinely distressed. The husband said, "We paid for a resort experience." I said this was the experience: a beautiful beach, warm sun, clear water. They lasted 90 minutes before retreating to their room to watch American TV shows on their laptop. They later complained we didn't offer enough value because there weren't constant activities. The value was tranquility. They couldn't recognize it. My friend manages a scenic train route through the Scottish Highlands. It's 3 hours of stunning landscapes, mountains, lochs, valleys. People travel specifically for these views. It's considered one of Europe's most beautiful rail journeys. An American boarded in Glasgow, sat down, looked out the window for maybe 10 minutes, then asked the conductor if the train had Wi-Fi. It didn't. The route goes through remote areas. The American looked horrified. Nothing? No connectivity at all. My friend explained people usually enjoy the scenery. The American said, "For 3 hours?" He pulled out his phone anyway, trying desperately to get signal. He kept standing, walking between cars, holding his phone up like a divining rod. Other passengers watched, bemused. Eventually, he gave up and just sat there, visibly uncomfortable, checking his dead phone every few minutes like it might spontaneously connect. He didn't look out the window once during the final 2 hours. After arriving, he posted online that the journey was a waste of time because there was nothing to do. The nothing to do was the entire point. He'd missed 3 hours of extraordinary beauty because he couldn't tolerate being disconnected. I worked at a spa in Budapest, Hungary. Our specialty was traditional thermal baths, natural hot springs where people soak for hours. It's deeply cultural, dating back to Roman times. The practice is simple. Sit in hot water, relax, let your mind wander. American tourists struggled immensely. They get in the bath, sit for 5 minutes, then ask what comes next. I'd say nothing comes next, you just soak. They'd ask how long. I'd say as long as you like, typically an hour or more. Their faces showed panic. One woman got out after 12 minutes, said she finished the bath. I explained people usually stay longer. She said, "Doing what?" I said relaxing. She replied, "I am relaxed. Now what?" The concept of extended, purposeless soaking baffled her. She wandered the spa looking for other activities, repeatedly asking staff what else we offered. We offered baths. That was the service. She left after 45 minutes, wrote a review saying we needed more comprehensive spa programming because sitting in water isn't enough. For centuries, it had been enough. For her, it was insufferable. A Swedish museum curator told me about an American tourist at their contemporary art museum. The exhibition featured a minimalist installation, a large white room with subtle lighting changes over 30 minutes. Visitors were meant to sit and experience the gradual transformation. It was meditative, popular with locals. The American entered, sat down, waited maybe 3 minutes, then stood up and asked the attendant when it starts. The attendant explained it had started. The piece was about patience and perception. The American said, "But nothing's happening." The attendant said that was the art, noticing the nothing. The American called it a scam, demanded his entrance fee back, said he'd been tricked into watching an empty room. He couldn't conceive that stillness itself might be valuable. He needed constant, obvious stimulation. Anything else registered as fraud. I spent 5 years working at a small inn in the Italian Dolomite. We're remote, nearest town is 40 minutes away. Our whole appeal is isolation, silence, mountain views. Guests come specifically to escape. An American couple booked 5 nights. They arrived on Monday, seemed excited. By Tuesday morning, the wife approached me at breakfast, visibly anxious. She asked what people do all day. I suggested hiking, reading on the terrace, exploring the village, or simply enjoying the peace. She said they'd hiked yesterday. I said they could hike different trails, we had dozens. She meant they'd already done hiking, needed something new. I offered the village again. She'd walked through it, took 20 minutes. Now what? I suggested relaxing, which seemed to offend her. She said they didn't take vacation to do nothing. I explained that was precisely why most guests came, to do nothing beautifully. She couldn't accept this. She kept asking about day trips, activities, entertainment options. Everything I suggested she dismissed as insufficient distraction. By Wednesday, they were miserable. They spent entire days in their room on laptops, emerging only for meals. Thursday morning, they checked out early, saying the inn was too isolated and they were bored to death. They'd traveled to one of Europe's most beautiful regions and experienced none of it because they couldn't tolerate unstructured time. Before leaving, the husband said something that stuck with me. "There's nothing to do here." He was standing on our terrace, surrounded by towering peaks, pristine air, absolute serenity. He saw nothing. Here's what I've learned. The boredom isn't the problem. The inability to sit with yourself is. When every moment demands filling, silence becomes threatening. When constant stimulation is normal, peace feels like punishment. These tourists weren't experiencing boredom, they were experiencing themselves without distraction, and they couldn't handle it. The rest of the world has figured out that emptiness has value. That not every moment needs optimizing. That sometimes the point is pointlessness. Maybe that's worth thinking about. Preferably somewhere quiet with nothing to do.